So, do you share the same concerns as David Dodge?
Well, we'll have to see what is actually in the budget before we come to any firm conclusions. Our general sense is, at least with respect to the budget deficit, it's probably going to come in around the range of $40 billion for this year. May be pretty similar projected for next year as well. There probably will not be any indication of returning to a balance budget. Now, relative to GDP, that's about 1.5% of GDP. So it's certainly not in the order of what the US is running, 6% of GDP, but it is a moderate size budget deficit. And yes, I mean, if it continued year in, year out, that could raise concerns about Canada's AAA credit rating. But what we'll have to see is whether the government holds true to its one of its fiscal guideposts, and that is to keep the debt to GDP ratio on a downward trend over the medium term. So we'll see what comes out of there. It'd be nice to see some measures that support Canadian business activity, competitiveness, productivity. I'm not so sure we'll see those measures, but we'll have to wait to see what actually is revealed in the budget.
Now, the slogan for this year's budget is fairness for every generation. What could that indicate about what might be in this budget?
Well, I think the government has already laid out quite a bit of what will be in the budget, and certainly it's billed as a housing budget. Already, there's been a series of measures put in place to both try to increase the supply of housing in this country, to encourage construction of rental units, affordable rental units, at the same time trying to work on the demand side by helping first-time buyers in particular get into the housing market. So there's going to be a bit of a push on both the supply side and the demand side. Overall, may not be a whole lot of impact with respect to prices, but the intent here is to try and get affordability on a little better track, because we know by depending on the measure, affordability in the Canadian housing market is the worst in over 3 decades now. You have to go back to 1990 by one measure, when mortgage rates were double where they are now, to see affordability as bad as it is. Now, there will be some relief when interest rates come down. The Bank of Canada starts cutting interest rates. That will help. But we also need an extended period of time where house prices rise very modestly and less than family incomes, just allowing incomes to catch up. That ultimately will support improved affordability for all generations in
Now,
Canada.
several economists have already warned this budget is supposed to include tax hikes for wealthy Canadians and certain corporations. Is this the right path forward?
Well, that's the rumor, that we will see tax increases on either wealthier or upper income Canadians, as well as targeted tax increases for certain industries that are so called generating windfall profits. But again, we'll have to see what actually comes out of the budget. Now, Canada has a very disappointing record with respect to both competitiveness and productivity in recent years, and in fact, goes back even longer than that, more than a decade. We really do need to work on improving our international competitiveness, and to do that, we need measures that would support labor productivity. And to do that, probably the best thing we could do is support business investment. So we'll see what comes out of the budget, if there are any measures that support business investment in Canada. If there is, I think that would be a real step in the right direction.
All right. Sal Guatieri is the director and senior economist at BMO. Thank you very much, Sal, for being with us here today.